What have you been up to?
I've been busy, Cyrus. Aren't you busy?
Quite. Are you going to talk about the real estate market? It's slowing down.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. Well, you should do a forecast video, you know?
End of the year, I usually do one, but at the end of the year.
Well, absolutely, because I think that these high home prices are not really helping our economy.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a live stream, Cyrus. I gotta go.
Okay, all right.
Hello, everyone. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody is healthy, safe in these tough, uncertain times. Over the years, I've made a lot of videos talking about the issues and concerns facing the Las Vegas Valley, not to mention some of the great parts about it too. However, I'm not alone. There are many other channels like Jacob Orth, or you can call him Jacob's Life in Vegas, that have been covering many of these topics. And I've actually met him personally. But the thing is that even though I will give him credit for doing some work and bringing some good, truthful information about the area, there's a lot of things that do not add up very, very well. And again, I want to make this very, very clear. I hope that this is not really a bashing video, or I'm not trying to let anybody down, but it's important that in the YouTube community, we bring some truths or some other points of view that we believe that it's true. And yeah, you do get a good idea somewhat of what it's like in the area. But then again, there's a lot of other things that you have to keep in mind. He is a sincere person. And the issue is, however, his channel delivers a lot of partial truth. And it also hides a lot of concerns that are within the area. Now, to be fair, this individual has talked about, well, the strip and visitation costs have gone up, sales taxes have gone up. Sure, there are some important information that he has brought in, and including this video right here. Do casino executives know a crash is coming? Now, he hasn't made a lot of videos about a coming downturn, which is very likely. Now, again, I'm not saying he has to be doom and gloom and talking about dollar collapse and pumping gold and things like that. But then again, you have to make sure that your channel is in a shade of gray. You give a good balance between pros and cons in terms of the economy. You can't be so black and white. And the fact of the matter is, well, as you can see, his channel has transformed from a channel of giving a glimpse of what it's like living there, the basics, such as the taxes, things to do, what's it like to live there, to a channel that's more like he's vlogging and walking along because he ran out of ideas, to more importantly, a channel that he's basically pumping real estate. And, you know, there's a lot of fishiness behind that. I see you with all these realtors and all these home tours and everything else. How do you explain that? And this is a problem. A lot of people don't know what they're really getting into. You have hundreds and potentially thousands of people that have or planning to move there because of videos like himself. And guess what? It seems like once they get into the boat, before they know it, it's abandoned ship. And so here's the sad reality. So even though I'm sure he's aware a lot of these concerns I've talked about in my channel, and I know his channel wants to stay away from political issues and things like that, the fact of the matter is that when you refuse to talk about these important issues, a lot of people are misled, and a lot of people, before they know it, realize that they're in for a different reality, or they're in for a lot of empty promises. So, as we move along with a lot of the problems which you haven't talked about, which number one is the fact that the casinos have heavy control of the way things are run, the government, the elections, the campaign contributions, whether it's the Sheldon Adelsons of the world, the fact that they use the Culinary Union to bust people like crazy and select our politicians as it seems, the Jim Murren of MGM Resorts International, which you haven't done a video about him, how he just resigned, how he started the paid parking thing, how he sold company stock, according to many people that I've heard, before the Mandalay Bay massacre, and he's countersuing the victims. The fact that he was heavily behind many of these people in charge, including Sisolak, and now he's in part of the COVID-19 task force. He doesn't talk a lot about that. Why? See, this is the thing. So you have to really know how dirty and shady this town really is. Now, make no mistake, I'm not trying to point out that, well, Las Vegas is a hellhole. No, there's a lot of great things that I like about Las Vegas. I've talked about in my channel. In fact, I'll tell you some things that Jacob hasn't even talked about. The fact that it's easy to meet famous people all over the world. The fact that we hardly experience any major natural disasters. There's a lot of great things that he hasn't talked about. But again, you look at all the other issues. Immigration, he doesn't talk about it. Now people say, well, Cyrus, we're a nation of immigrants and you're a son of two immigrants. You should be supportive of it. And I'm like, well, you got to understand the fact that Las Vegas is among the highest rates of unlawful immigration in the U.S. And we're not bordering another country. We're not bordering another major body of water. So how do you explain that? We have among the highest rates of immigration statewide. That doesn't have those considerations. Something is fishy. And I see it a lot of cheap labor. And what's the result of that? Well, this is one of the reasons why our schools are not performing too well. This is one of the reasons why people are socially disconnected. Now, people may argue and say, well, Cyrus, we got all these nice restaurants. Yeah, have you seen dirty dining? I'm sure that YouTube channel, Living in Vegas, has promoted that. And of course, he doesn't talk about the urban planning, the fact that, he promotes these homes, but then all these homes look alike. They lack character and beauty. In these dead-end streets, you rarely know your neighbors. Everything is so car dependent with these useless gated subdivisions, these strip malls, heavily separated among each other, vast chunks of asphalt parking lots. These areas are not so pretty when you compare to the old-fashioned cities. When you come from places like Chicago, Savannah, Boston, you're in there for such a surprise. And I've talked a lot about this in my channel. You've seen my process as these home development site, as opposed to where Jacob, he's the one who's promoting them. And then this really gets back to real estate, because the sad reality is, you've promoted real estate many, many times on your channel. And guess what, folks? He doesn't tell you the harsh reality of the real estate market. And I can show you articles later on that it's among the most overvalued in the country. You look at the wage to price ratio, it's not looking good. Rents are not looking good. And by the way, just to make you guys really know what's going on, the fact is the main reason why our prices are going up is because there isn't a lot of construction. It's pretty dismal compared to the 90s and the 2000s. It's not mainly because of Californians. That's just really a cover-up. And by the way, I don't think that's the main reason why the politics here has gotten so bad. However, the fact is that the housing market is overvalued. A lot of people argue it's a bubble. And a lot of individuals who follow his channel and buy housing really, I guess you can say, are falling into a pretty horrible trap. Now, even though if you think that the housing market's not in a bubble, these higher home prices are causing a lot of problems. And I really appreciate the fact that Jacob would talk about these issues. So here is really, really the sad reality of what's going on. And the fact is, as you can see, his channel hasn't been making a lot of videos, or it seems like it's in a lot of trouble. It seems to me that looks like it's about to crumble. Because you know why? Because as you can see in a lot of these articles, well, I've talked to you this about before, we're among the hardest hit from this COVID-19 outbreak, or will be soon. And look at this. We're a large metropolitan area compared to these other ones like Midland and Odessa. This is going to be very, very disappointing. Now look at these jobless numbers. Look at this. We were at about 2,000 to 3,000 in our unemployment claims, and now we're up to 90,000 compared to Nebraska, several times higher, 30 times as opposed to about 15. Folks, this is alarming, and you have to ask yourself, how are these channels going to continue? Now, I'm not the only channel. There's this other channel called World According to Briggs. He has responded to this guy, and I think Jacob overreacted to his original video, so he did another response. But there again, it's not looking very pretty. It's looking pretty embarrassing for Jacob, because once a lot of people move in and see that they're going to see a lot of negative equity, that the fact is that this real estate market was propped up, it was a lie because of low interest rates, foreign speculators, banks buying up the foreclosures, turning them into rentals, no money down. You've seen a lot of these large signs for these new homes. I'll have videos about that later on. He's not telling you this, and it's going to look very likely pretty embarrassing for him. Now, again, I doubt that he's a liar, and I certainly have a good feeling he's not a con man. But remember, he has built himself an empire of maintaining this idea that, oh, so much everything is so happy in Las Vegas. And look, I agree, there's a lot of great things about Las Vegas, but you got to show the real side. And whether it's his channel or Forbes magazine about the best places to live, or maybe even my channel, you've got to do your own research, folks. Everybody's different. When are you folks gonna learn? Now, with all credit is due, I will say, I'm pretty proud of the fact that somebody who's moved here 24, 25 was able to get an apartment without a roommate. I live in Summerlin South, in the area, not experiencing a lot of financial turmoil. It's not all that concerning. But in my last video, a YouTube user named Craigo told me, well, Cyrus, you're going to get married, you're going to have kids. He told me as if there isn't a lot of quality women around here. And it could change once I hit my middle ages. So this area is not for everyone. And to be honest, a lot of people complain about the crime, the schools, the climate. Those aren't really the issues. The issues for me was really corruption and the way the area was designed. But again, these things can change. They really can. I really see a lot of potential. But as far as I know, look, Jacob is really a product of the lousy economy, or I guess you can say the rigged economy, or whatever you want to call it, in the last 10 years. I heard this man has lots of student loan debt. He didn't have much to do, so he decided to make videos about the area. And I heard he heavily relies on Uber and Lyft income. And basically that's not looking too well. So I guess if you're doing Grubhub, you would have been doing a lot better. But the fact of the matter is that these are looking some really shady times. And it's important in these tough times, in a time where it's very difficult to trust among each other, you have to spread the information. And I know YouTube is going to do a lot what they can to cramp down, not on the people that I've met before, but even probably in this channel. You have to do everything you can to spread this information, get the truth out, have each other's backs, because things can get tough. My finances can be in jeopardy, ladies and gentlemen. So we have to make sure that we have a bright future ahead, all of us. Okay? So thank you guys so much. Please subscribe. Please share this channel.